Rishi, please go ahead.
सर आवाज येतोय माझा?
हा येतोय. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So we are now starting an engineering insurance session. For those who were not in yesterday's session, I will again introduce Geeta ma'am. Mrs. Geeta Hegde ma'am, celebrated for her vast talent and master in general insurance field. Geeta ma'am is presently serving as the regional manager at Pune Arrow. Her recent talks have received considerable praise on YouTube. She is also an instructor at NI Pune. We look forward to an exceptionally enlightening session, assured that her deep understanding of the insurance sector will greatly enrich our candidates. We are thankful to Mr. Dinesh Bobate, General Secretary BVKS, Sachin Loke sir, Jeevan Bhosle sir, Anish Jadhav sir, Team BVKS and Team Mumbai Insurance Institute for arranging these eminent lectures online. We now kindly ask Mrs. Hegde ma'am to begin the session.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and good morning to all. We with all the best to all those appearing for the exam. We start the session on
Good
engineering
morning, madam.
insurance. Yes, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Good
giving me
morning,
this
madam.
opportunity.
Good morning.
Yes, I must thank for giving this opportunity. So we go ahead with the engineering insurance. Engineering insurance and fire insurance is one subject. So fire we have seen, and in the engineering we will see the various policies we generally see while underwriting or claims, but we have to see a little in deep or the peculiar points of coverage and exclusions which can come as a question for the exam. So the types of policies are, we can classify them as project policies. So project policies, or otherwise they are also called as construction phase policies, which are before the installation. So project insurance policies we know are marine cum erection, or it can be only erection all risk, contractors all risk, contractors plant and machinery, and ALOP. These are all construction phase policies before the installation is done. So installed machinery policies, which are annual policies, and construction phase policies need not be for 1 year. They can be shorter or longer, depending on the construction time required or erection period required. So installed machinery policies, which are generally annual policies and which also called as operation phase policies. So the construction phase policies start before the operation starts. Once they are installed, then the operation phase policies will start. We know these policies: machinery insurance, boiler and pressure plant policy, electronic equipment, deterioration of stock policy. And in deterioration of stock, we have two: one potatoes and other than potatoes, machinery loss of profit, MLOP, and civil engineering completed risk insurance. These are the annual policies or operational phase policies. Some other way of grouping these policies, only same policies, but grouping in other way, is all risk policies. Which are all risk policies? So all risk policies are those wherein everything is covered except the exclusions. In all risk policies, exclusion become very important. So the all risk policies are marine cum erection, erection all risk, CAR, CPM. One of the installed machinery policy, which is also a all risk policy, is the electronic equipment policy. Limited peril or named peril policy is boiler and pressure plant. So in the all risk policies, we have classified in other way the same policies. Now dependent policies, which we call as dependent policies, MLOP, DOS, ALOP, and section 3 of the electronic equipment policy, that is increased cost of working. These are not independent covers, but they are dependent on some other, like depends on section 1, material damage. If there is no material damage, then there cannot be either FLOP or MLOP. Similarly, DOS policy or ALOP, these policies are not independent policies, but they are dependent on the material damage policies. Now, we are seeing the erection all risk policy. Okay, risk covers are provides comprehensive cover for installation, erection of machinery, equipment from the time of arrival of first consignment and terminates on completion of erection, testing, commissioning, or the plant is taken over, whichever occurs first and during the maintenance period. So here it is important that the cover starts from the time of arrival of first consignment and not when the work starts. Location risk, what all are the risks that are covered at the location? Fire, lightning, theft, burglary, and operation risk, leakage of electricity, insulation, failure, short circuit, explosion. So here we can see that all the risk that we can think of is covered under the policy. ER risk covered. Human risks like carelessness, negligence, false in erection, riot strike, natural calamities, accidental external means like accidental falling of objects, impact thereby the resultant damage of the property by impact. So you will see that in ER policy, everything is covered and that's why it's called as an all risk policy. So all that can happen with the human error or with the natural perils, everything is covered under the policy. Natural calamities and human errors, everything gets covered under the policy. Now, how to take the sum insured under the policy? Sum insured under the policy should be aggregate of following items. That is machinery, equipment, landed cost at site, imports or indigenous, and cost of erection including supervision and specialist fees, permanent civil engineering works, and half escalated value if escalation opted for. So here it is important from the exam point of view that in addition to the machinery or equipment cost of erection including supervision and specialist fees also gets added in the sum insured, should get added in the sum insured, and permanent civil engineering works. While erecting, sometimes when the machinery is erected, there is a foundation which is already there. So erection is being done on civil engineering work which is already there, and on that there is erection taking place. Then the civil engineering work which is already existing, if it is not added in the sum insured, then if at all there is some damage during the erection, it will also damage the permanent civil engineering work on which it is erected. And if that is not added but damaged, then the claim will not be payable for that permanent civil engineering work. So though generally it will be thought by the insured that machinery cost plus the labor cost, whatever is to be insured, the permanent civil engineering work sometimes not get added in the sum insured, then that claim will not be paid for the permanent civil engineering work, which will also get damaged if there is something, some loss happening at the time of erection. Half escalated value is escalation opted for. As we know, the escalation is the increase in the sum insured throughout the policy period. And that escalated value, here it is said half escalated value. This is one of the method of calculating the sum insured, because escalated value does not require full premium to be charged. So as we have seen in fire that we take the escalation and rate is reduced into half, 50% of the rate that is charged to for fire is charged for escalation, because escalation is the sum insured which is not available on the day one, but it is available after that throughout the year. So instead of charging 50% premium, we are here adding the half escalated value in the sum insured. So this is a method of calculating the premium. So it is one and the same. You add the half escalated value or you charge premium on the full escalated value, but at the 50% of the rate. So we are saying half escalated value to be added in the sum insured. Under insurance is applicable strictly. Yes.
Ma'am, if there is a loss to machinery, but there is no loss to the civil foundation, and the civil foundation is not covered as well, so will there be under insurance applied?
Yes, because you are supposed to add, because that's a part of the sum insured.
Okay, ma'am.
Under insurance is applicable in engineering. Third party liability risk, extension that can be opted, or third party liability risk, surrounding property damage, earthquake risk and terrorism, construction plant and machinery like cranes, dumpers, earth excavators, etc. Extra charges for overtime, express freight, and escalation maximum 50%. Now, period of cover and testing period. Period of insurance as per insured's requirement. It can be anything as per the erection period. Testing period will cease with commencement of commercial production or handing over of plant, whichever is earlier. Maximum testing period is 12 months. No fire policy can be issued during the testing period for items covered under storage cum erection policy. So once the policy is over, only then fire policy can start. Once it is testing is done and handed over, then it can start. Okay, premium installation facility is given in all project policies with period of insurance more than 12 months. So the conditions for installment facility, you noted, because many a times the question has been asked on this. What are the conditions for giving a installment facility? The first installment premium must be paid on or before the commencement of the cover. And this first installment premium will be calculated and collected at being 5% higher than all other equal installments. So first installment should be higher by 5%, and last installment should be paid at least 6 months prior to the expiry of the policy. So three conditions are important. One is the project policy should be more than 12 months. If it less than 12 months, then installment facility is not given. First installment should be higher by 5%, and last installment should be paid at least 6 months prior to the expiry of the policy period. Now, how will you know this? Actually, the programming is done in such a way, I think all the system will give us the calculation. However, to know how it is actually calculated, like if you are not doing it on the computer, but you want to do it manually, then this is how is the formula. Okay, so n is equal to p minus 6 divided by n plus 1, where small p is the project period in months. N is the interval between two payments. Minimum is 3 months interval period that should be opted by the insured. Number of installments will become n. So capital N. That is to know the number of installments and the amount of each installment. This is the formula that is done. First installment premium, that is the capital P into 95%, because the first installment should be higher by 5% and divided by n plus p into 5%, where p is the gross premium. So you take premium into 95%, gross premium into 95% divided by n plus p into 5%, when n minus 1 installments is equal to p into 95% divided by n. Now, if you it looks little complicated, but if you put the amount and the figures here, then you will get the number of installments. Okay, so if you take small p, that is the project period as 25 months, and number of installments 3, gross premium is 50 lakhs. Number of installments you will get as n is equal to, that is number of installments first you want to get, that is 25 minus 6 divided by 3 plus 1, that is the interval in installments plus 1, that will come to 7.333. That is the total number of installments. Then first installment premium will be sum insured into 95% divided by number of installments plus the amount that into 5%, because the first installment has to be higher by 5%. So you get the first installment amount and you get the next 6 installment amount. So number of installments
higher by 5% of total premium.
See, remaining installments will be all of the total premium. It cannot be of the total premium, right? Your total premium, in the total premium, you divide in such a way that first installment should come higher by 5%. Because if you try to calculate manually as to total premium and you want to have the number of installments, if you divide equally and then you increase the first one by 5%, then if you try to manually reduce other installments, it will not come correct. You understand mathematically. How will you take 5% more? And that's why you have two. You are all equal installments. All other installments will be equal, but the first installment should be higher by 5%. And to arrive at that correctly, this is the formula. Do you get it? Not of the total premium. You have a premium which you are dividing. Now see, you are dividing a premium. Total premium including taxes 50 lakhs. Okay, you have first arrived at the rate of premium calculating by tariff on the sum insured. Your premium comes to 50 lakhs. Now you don't know how to divide it into installments. First is you cannot have installments, any number of installments as per the whatever insured feels like he wants 10 installment, 15 installment. That's not permitted because your gap should be 3 months gap at least. So considering interval of 3 months, how will you arrive first at the number of installments? You first arrive at the number of installments and then to be loaded, the first installment to be loaded by 5%. So if you see in this example, if your first installment is coming to 928,571 and all installments, remaining 6 installments are coming to 678,471. So 6 installments into 678,471 plus 928,571 will come to 50 lakhs. Do you get it? The first installment is coming by higher by 5%. And I think, do you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Get it?
Yes, madam.
Yes, the total has to come to 50 lakhs and it's not possible to manually divide and then add back the first installment by 5%. So this formula will help you, or it calculates the premium exactly. It will give you how many installments should come and what should be the first installment and the remaining installments. Okay, refund for early completion of project period. Again, here there are conditions. If the project period is given as 18 months or 24 months by the insured first, and then he completes earlier. So can we give refund? Yes, we can give refund. There was a question on this also because sometimes we feel that we cannot give any refund, but we can give refund. But again, what are the conditions? So in both this installment facility, early refund, these are the provisions available, but every provision has some conditions not available in under any circumstances. So period of insurance has to be 18 months and above. Only then refund for early completion of project can be given. So notice given to the insurer before commencement of testing in any case, not later than 7 days after commencement of the testing. So the insured has to give a notice to the insurance company, that is the insurer, that the early completion of project is going to be there, and so he will opt for refund under the policy. Claims experience should be less than 60%. Minimum refund should come to period 3 months and allowed only after reworking of the premium on the reduced policy period. So how do we calculate the premium based on the tariff? That first few months and then extension, that first basic rate is there, then for the next period there is a rate. So again it is to be reworked premium on the reduced policy period. That is, if the project is of 24 months and then he is asking refund for 4 months, you cannot give refund for less than 3 months, right? So asking refund for 4 months, then 4 months, then if you reduce 4 months, then it becomes 20 months. So you recalculate again premium for 20 months instead of 24. What? Because you cannot give a proportionate refund, pro rata refund, because calculation depending on the number of months differs. So it again calculated for 20 months and then you give the refund. So period of insurance should be 18 months or more. Notice should be given before the testing period commences or at least within 7 days. And claims experience less than 60%. Minimum refund should come to 3 months or more and allowed only after reworking of premium on the reduced policy period. So conditions for giving refund, you remember. So,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah, yes.
Ma'am, here it is written that claim experience should be less than 60. So that means even though the claim has lodged on this policy, insured is eligible for the refund?
Yes, because see, if an annual policy is given, then we don't give refund because annual policy, there is a claim lodged. So there is a rule we cannot give refund. Okay. So we cannot cancel the policy and give a refund because our policies itself are annual policies. But when the project policies are there, these are policies taken on a anticipated period, right? It's the question of period which is exceeding. So if refund can be given, okay. Yet it can be given. If the claim experience is less than 60%, then refund for the early completion of, because he is taking a period anticipating, but he has completed the period earlier. So there is difference in giving refund on a period of insurance which is not certain and period of insurance which is certain to be 1 year, right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Add-on covers by payment of additional premium. Following can be covered. Increase in the policy period anytime allowed. Removal of debris, contractors, plant and machinery, third-party liability, owners surrounding property, escalation, risk of earthquake and terrorism, and dismantling cover for second-hand machinery. Other add-on covers we know. So dismantling of second-hand machinery and re-erection can also be allowed. Premium rate, testing period for 1 month is covered in the basic premium. We know that 1 plus 1 is the basic premium when we charge. It is 1 plus 1. So testing period of 1 month is covered in the basic premium. Rate charged for storage cum erection is charged for third party liability. Escalation 50% is added in the sum insured. Surrounding property 50% of the storage cum erection rate is to be charged. If machinery is a mix of old and new, 50% of the rate applicable for new machinery is to be charged. Additional rate for dismantling is 60% of the total rate irrespective of period of dismantling. So once it is to be dismantled and then re-erected, then you have to charge for first dismantling and then again charge for erection. So 60% of the storage cum erection rate once you will charge for dismantling irrespective of the period of dismantling. This is also sometime asked in the exam whether dismantling cover we are giving. So yes, we can give dismantling cover first and then generally it is re-erected. So first dismantling also premium has to be charged, which will be 60% of the storage cum erection rate. Some in add-on covers 50-50 clause. You have to just know what we understand by 50-50 clause, where it is not possible to establish whether the damage was caused before or after arrival of consignment. This will happen when it is a marine and a EAR policy separate. If we are covering marine cum erection, then anyway the loss falls on that policy. However, we don't know whether the loss has taken place in marine or it has happened in, not able to establish clearly whether the damage was caused before or after arrival of the consignment. That is, whether the loss has taken place on the site or it has taken place in transit, then the 50-50 clause will apply. That means 50 will be on the marine policy and 50 on the erection policy. 72 hours clause, we know storm, tempest, flood, earthquake caused consecutively within 72 hours is treated as one event. Automatic reinstatement clause, by paying extra premium, insured amount always remains the same. We know it has to be reinstated so that sum insured remains the same. Loss minimization expenses, these add-on covers are available. Professional fees for architect surveyors, this add-on cover is available. Cover for offsite storage and fabrication. TPL cover, is repeated. Cross liability. Third party liability cover in respect of parties named in the schedule shall apply as if a separate policy has been issued to each party. So when there are two parties and each one claims on the other, or the loss falls on both of them, both have the right to claim under the policy. This is an add-on cover available under the policy. So waiver of contribution, escalation, waiver of subrogation, expediting cost in the event of loss cost incurred like overtime, transportation, safeguarding, preserving up to sublimit. It can be allowed up to a sublimit. Extended maintenance cover, we know generally we are giving. Continuity of cover for unit which is tested but awaiting integral testing. Then the continuity of cover. What is continuity of cover? You have to know. Unit which is tested already but awaiting integral testing. Then till that time, policy can be continued. D1, D2, D3 and D4, these extensions are available. Okay, we see what is D1, D2, D3 and D4. That is design defect cover.
Ma'am, what is extended maintenance cover?
Yes, we'll come to that. Elaborate. Maintenance, visit maintenance and extended maintenance cover. We'll come to that. Okay. Design defect cover. That is DE 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These covers are available. It is just an example given from which you can understand what is DE 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. An RCC column fails because its inner steel supporting rod, the faulty part, is defective in design or material. the roof collapses, causing extensive damage to an expensive floor. Under these circumstances, DE1 excludes all damages due to design defect. So we are talking about there is a design defect in RCC. There is a column and its inner steel supporting rod. So there is a rod, outside there is a column, and then there is a roof to that, and there is a flooring. So if the rod inside is found to be defective, and because of that the column it damages the column, and then it damages the roof, collapses, and the floor is also collapsed. So when the cause is the most innermost part is the cause, it is damaging the column, the roof, and it can damage the floor. So when such damages take place, then DE1 says that everything because of this design defect is not covered under the policy, and that's why DE1 is never given. DE1 just says that all damages due to design defect, and outright it's a defect exclusion. So DE1 is not a cover. It says that everything will be excluded because of the defect in the inner part. So DE1 is never offered as an add-on. DE2 says it covers the floor. It covers the floor but does not cover the roof or the column, and extended defective condition exclusion. So we will say in fact DE cover DE 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are say what is excluded. So DE2 says that only floor is covered, rest everything is excluded. If you just draw a picture of a column, within that there is a rod and there is a roof and there is a floor, then you will realize that DE2 covers only the floor and not the roof also or the column also. Now DE3 will cover the floor and the roof but does not cover the column. Now DE4 will cover the floor, the roof and the column but does not cover the supporting rod itself, which was a defective part. So here it is a defective part exclusion. DE5 will cover everything but does not cover a different type of supporting rod to be used in design. So design improvement exclusion. So DE5 we can say it covers the rod also. So it will cover everything except that if that rod has been improved rod, then it will not cover. Design improvement it will not cover. But if it is the same design rod is being now replaced, then DE5 will cover everything. It will cover the rod which was defective, it will cover the column, it will cover the roof, and it will cover the floor. So this example says that DE1 does not cover anything due to a defect in a part in the construction. DE2 says the remotely connected will be covered, but the immediate it is within a part, then it is not covered. Extended defective condition. DE3 says that it's a limited defective condition. So where it covers little more, then 4 will cover still more. It is covering except only that part which is defective. Excluding that, it covers all damages. And DE5, if you said, so this is the widest cover which generally we are not giving DE5. It covers everything but does not cover a different type of supporting rod to be used in repairs. So design improvement exclusion. So I think this is clear now. DE1 does not cover anything. DE2 will cover the floor only. DE3 will cover the floor and the roof. DE4 will cover the floor and the roof and the column. And DE5 will cover everything, but the rod should be the same one, same type, and not a better rod. So improvement it will not cover. So you can see this, what DE1 outright defect exclusion clause. This says extended defective condition exclusion, limited defective condition exclusion, defective part exclusion, and design improvement exclusion. From this you can understand what is DE1 to DE5. So exclusions: faulty design, defective material, bad workmanship, rectification of defects, manufacturer's guarantee, willful act. Now, if we say defective material is not covered, then we have seen now, example, you have to correlate everything. faulty design, defective material, or bad workmanship are not covered by themselves. However, the other damages resulting due to faulty design or defective material, bad workmanship get covered under the policy. So it is the defective part itself or defective area itself that is not covered, and anything related to rectification of these defects or faulty design is there. Rectification of that. Rectification of the defects is not covered, or the defect itself, that part is not covered. However, the major loss which will happen, like same what we have seen in fire, that particular machine is not covered, but the fire resulting into other part will get covered. So similarly, though faulty design and defective material, bad workmanship is not covered, if it results into other loss, then that loss will get covered. So willful negligence is not covered, consequential loss is never covered, penalties, delay, lack of performance, loss of contract, these are not covered. Because of the loss, if the contract is lost or there is a penalty. So though we say this is an all risk policy, exclusions become very important. Now, special provision for CCPP, what is that? Combined cycle power plant. Simple as that, what is CCPP can also be asked. Instead of going into deep into what is CCPP, only the abbreviation as to CCPP was also asked sometime. What is CCPP? So it's a combined cycle power plant. For gas turbine power station, prescribed excess shall apply. For a combined cycle power plant, excess applicable for gas turbine section shall be the existing excess. However, for steam section, the excess applicable shall be as per the steam power plant. So you have to just remember here that it's a combination of two, gas turbine section and steam section. So gas turbine as per its own, and for the steam section as per the steam power plant. So in a combined cycle power plant, there are two excess that will become available. So remember that what is CCPP, and two excess applicable within a plant. That is the important part of it. Okay. Cold testing, hot testing. This is a favorite question. At least once in 2-3 years, this is asked, because what is cold testing? It's a functional testing. It's checking the parts and elements of insured parts by mechanical, electric, hydrostatic, or other forms of testing under no load condition. So cold testing, not that in a cold atmosphere or in a AC, it means no load condition. No load condition is cold testing, and hot testing is operational and commissioning is checking of parts, elements, production line of insured property under full load or partial load. So with load testing is hot testing. No load condition testing is cold testing. So this also comes as to what is cold testing and what is hot testing. No load condition testing is cold testing. Full load or partial load testing is hot testing. Now, we say that erection policy can be given. Erection all risk policy can be given, or marine cum erection policy can be given. If both are given, then it's a good policy. Risk gets covered either under both the policies. Traditionally, two separate covers are given. By combining the two covers, advantages of uninterrupted, comprehensive, seamless cover is there. Offloading at ports, storage at bonded warehouse, transporters go down can also be covered under the single policy. Inland transit can be given up to erection site, including transshipment, intermediate storage, and unloading, storage, handling at the erection site will get covered. And if two policies are there, then sometimes it is not known whether it is happening under marine. If it is unloaded and then there is a gap in starting the erection, then where the loss has taken place, or there could be delay in intimation, no clarity about where the loss taken place, on which policy it falls. But marine cum erection is given, then we know that from the loading of the consignment till unloading and starting of the erection, our policy continues. In case of two separate policies, inspection at port will be required. Like we know, if there is a import is there, and if there is material lying at a port, then if we are covering inland, then for marine we are asking for inspection or B cover. So this will become difficult. But in case it's a continuous cover, then there is no need for any inspection. In case of any damages observed during erection, difficult to ascertain liability if there are two policies. Erection takes a long period. So during erection, if damage is noticed and not clear when the damage has taken place, whether while shifting the parts within the site, or it has taken place much before while coming in the transit. Need for additional policies can be eliminated in case of imports, where cover of supplier is still the Indian port. Custom duty will not be covered in the supplier's policy. Supplier is not covered. However, if we have additional policy, need not be taken for the custom duty. Competitive premium will be an additional benefit because we have with us both. We can give a very competitive rate for marine policy. Then contractors all risk policy, most of the terms and conditions are similar in CAR and EAR, where the civil construction is more than 50%, then we go for CAR policy. If the civil construction is more than 50%, then it cannot be EAR, it has to be CAR. This is again an all risk policy, always issued for civil engineering projects like construction of residential complexes, building. The following items can be covered. Civil works as per the contract, contractors, plant and equipment, CPM, cost of clearance and removal of debris, third party liability, insured's own surrounding property. Similar covers. So sum insured for CAR, again we see material damage, estimated completely erected value including material, wages, supervision cost, freight, custom duty, and material supplied by principal, the replacement value that you have to cover, not at the depreciated value, but at the replacement value. Always in all the engineering policies have the replacement value condition or the reinstatement value. In engineering policies, you will not have cover at the market value. So here this is important, material supplied by principal. The sometimes even actually while issuing the policies also we are confused here, that insured says that he's a contractor and he is taking the policy, contractor all risk, and his contract value is more. In the contract value, the labor part is his part, right? Labor part is his part, labor supervision. And in the material, he is adding only the material which he is going to use. And some part of the material, like there is a solar plant erection or some even in this is we are talking of CR. So when we are talking of CR, if there is some construction to be done where the material is not the complete responsibility of the contractor, but the principal himself is supplying some material. Here in the contract value and the material value may differ. Like his contract is, in case of contract value, the material part is supplied by principal also partially. However, labor part is of the contractor. So here some part supplied by principal. When the contractor is taking the policy, we are at a doubt whether that can be added in the policy as a sum insured or not. So very specifically given that even if the material is supplied by principal, because the construction is the responsibility of the contractor. So though the material is whether he is not purchased, it is supplied by principal, then that material also needs to be added in the sum insured, and not only the material which is bought or supplied by the contractor himself. So the material value of the contractor plus the material supplied by principal and other expenses of construction, all to be added together for the purpose of sum insured. Then CPM, that we know, new replacement value of the CPM, even if the machinery is old. TPL, separate limit for third party liability. Under insurance is applicable, and after claim the sum insured needs to be reinstated. Applies to all engineering policies. Now here is something important, maintenance cover. We are giving, under most of the policies, we are giving maintenance cover 12 months or 24 months, or even sometimes they are asking for higher months maintenance cover also. Now there are two parts in this. One is visit maintenance covered and one is extended maintenance cover. Always what we are issuing under the policy is extended maintenance cover, but there is a visits maintenance cover also, which is known as limited maintenance cover. Now see what is this? Loss or damage to the insured works solely caused by the insured contractor in the course of operation carried out for the purpose of complying with his obligations under the maintenance provisions of the contract. So it is a visits maintenance, that is at the time of maintenance, all the work that is done by the contractor in the for the purpose of maintenance required by the principal. Only if something happens in that work of maintenance, in the visits maintenance cover. So it's a limited maintenance cover. During the maintenance period, if anything happens because of which there is a damage to the already constructed whatever is the project, then that damage falls in the limited maintenance cover. But if you opt for extended maintenance cover, then it covers whatever is covered above as the damages caused during the maintenance period for the purpose of complying with the obligation under the maintenance provision. So whatever is the work related to maintenance, during that if any damage happens, but other than that, there could be some damages or there could be some defects which have already happened during construction or erection in the erection period, but which is not known. There is some defect which has happened while construction, but sometimes it does not give the result immediately, like within an hour or within a day. Some defect is there, but the result may be shown after few months or after few days. So if that defect, because of that defect, there is some damage, but that damage happens not in the construction period or erection period, but the damage happens in the maintenance period, but cause is the erection period. Defect has happened in the erection period, result is coming in the maintenance period. That is the extended maintenance. Some defect, not defect, but some mistake or some action in the maintenance period which results into a claim, it results into a damage, that is a limited maintenance cover. But second maintenance, extended maintenance means there was a defect in the construction or the erection. In the period of construction or erection, that period is over. Extended maintenance period has started, but during the maintenance something happens, and for that cause is the defect during the construction or the erection. In addition to the above, extended maintenance cover also provides for loss or damage occurring during the maintenance period, provided such loss or damage was caused on the site during the construction period. So defect in the construction period, result in the maintenance period is the extended maintenance. Limited maintenance cover is there is a loss during the maintenance only. Is that clear? Because there will be a question on this.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Now, projects covered, CR policy, civil works for residents, factories, we know this. All risk, namely fire, lightning, riot, strike, malicious damages, bad workmanship, burglary, theft, accidental, external means. So we know these are CR and ER are all risk policies. Supplementary covers damage to the existing property. Yeah, you remember this damage to existing property. We have been repeating again and again, whether it's CR or ER. If there is some existing property on which it is being constructed or erected, that will also be covered, but has to be added in the sum insured. Most of the times, the sum insured goes wrong and does not add that portion. CPM, removal of debris, overtime to be added in the labor, the additional expenses, additional custom duty, legal liability to third party, escalation, temporary works, all can be added, covered. Loss or damage due to exclusions, loss or damage due to faulty design, due to wear and tear, deterioration, due to atmospheric conditions, lack of use, rust, scratching of painting or polished surfaces, breakage of glass. Breakage of glass is very important. Sometimes because I think there was a question on, we say all risk policy. Though it is all risk policy, then this breakage of glass is not covered. If it is to be covered, then it has to be very specifically mentioned, agreed by the insurance company, only then. Otherwise, breakage of glass parts is not covered. Inventory losses, war due to nuclear, willful negligence by the insured, which is never covered under the policy. Exclusions, cost of repairs, replacement or rectification of the defective material, cost of repairs, replacement or rectification of the defective material. However, this exclusion not applicable to loss or damage to correctly executed items. So there is a defective material. So defective material causes loss to something that is correctly executed. So the exclusion applies only to the defective material, its repair, replacement or rectification. Because of that some defective material in one part, it is causing loss to some other part which is correctly executed, that gets covered under the policy. Cost necessary for correction of any error during the construction unless resulting in physical loss or damage. Loss or damage to vehicles, it is to be always covered under the motor policy. Packing materials like crates, boxes, cases, etc., that is not covered. Only the material required for construction or erection is covered. Adjustment of sum insured. Most of the time there is one question on this. What is adjustment of sum insured? Sum insured is adjustable at the end of the policy period or construction on the basis of actual values declared by the insured in respect of freight and handling charges, custom duty, construction cost, and the premium is to be suitably adjusted. However, any increase or decrease in the prime cost of material is not subject to premium adjustment. So what is the premium adjustment clause? It says that all the project period is the same. So it is not an refund for early completion of project. It is just correcting the sum insured at the end of the policy period. Now for freight, for custom duty and the construction cost, the amount that has been chosen, declared by the insured may be incorrect, and at the end he finds that the amount taken was on a higher side, then it can be adjusted and refund can be given. Any increase or decrease in the prime cost of material used for, if the cost has reduced, then that cannot be adjusted and refund given for the prime cost of material. But for other expenses like freight or custom duty handling charges, if he has declared more in the sum insured, then the insured can take refund for that. So prime cost of material is not subject to adjustment. This is what you have to remember in the adjustment of sum insured clause. Major hazards are underground risk, collapse or flooding. So what are the risks associated with the nature of work? Underground, where some risk is there, collapse and flooding. Pipeline construction, excavation, welding, testing, flooding. Tunnels, collapse, flood inundation, rock burst, rock fall, ignition of underground gas pockets, third-party risk. Road construction, flash flooding, water and frost damages. Bridges, third-party liability while work in progress. So we say third-party liability is more in bridges because the nature of the work. Okay, machinery policy. We know what is a machinery policy. We are giving machinery policy. In the property covered, all electrical and non-electrical, mechanical and chemical items like electric motors, transformers, diesel generator sets, air compressors, boilers, blowers, etc. can be covered under a machinery policy. Scope of cover. Against sudden accidental loss due to vibration, maladjustment, falling, impact, collision, and the like. Obstruction or entry of foreign bodies. Here we have to understand machinery policy covers even loss due to falling. Sometimes we feel that machinery is policy for electrical and mechanical breakdown. That is what we think. So machinery machinery breakdown policy is not only mechanical and electrical breakdown, but also covers falling, impact, collision, obstruction or entry of foreign bodies. So entry of foreign bodies will result into failure of the machine. So mechanical, electrical breakdown is covered. However, loss due to vibration, falling, impact, So this is also covered. So machineries while being shifting within the industry can get damaged due to falling or impact of something else, like a machinery is kept and the crane working above while trying to lift the machinery drops the machinery, or some part while shifting falls on the machine, so that is also covered. So scope of cover of machinery insurance is important, which we generally feel that only the breakdown, that is the short circuit, and it is getting damaged from inside due to some burning of some cable, overheating, only in that case machinery gets damaged. That is the major cause of machinery getting damaged. However, the other scope of cover we must see in case of machinery. Now, losses from unforeseen and sudden damage to the machinery from faulty material, design, construction, erection is not covered. It's getting blocked. Faulty material, design, construction, erection, vibration, malalignment, maladjustment, defective lubrication, loosening of parts, stress, explosion due to centrifugal force or internal pressure, failure of insulation and electrical breakdown, human failures like lack of skill, lack of knowledge, and mere negligence. Cover applies under the following situations: when it is at work or at rest. So cover is there when it is at work or at rest, while being dismantled for cleaning or overhauling, during the cleaning and overhauling operation, when being shifted within the premises, during subsequent erection. So we know if the machine is being shifted within the premises, yet it is covered. When it is dismantled for cleaning or overhauling, it is covered. During the cleaning and overhauling also it is covered. However, you have to remember that you will remember that when it is being cleaning or dismantled or overhauling operation, it is covered. So that will be fixed in our mind that machinery breakdown cover is there even when it is being overhauling operation. So it is not working. So we say that when it is working or at rest or doing anything like dismantling, cleaning, overhauling, it's covered even when shifted. So we know this wide cover. However, if the question is whether the policy can be taken when it is being dismantled or it is in the overhauling operation at a regular intervals, machines needs to be overhauled. So during the cleaning and overhauling operation, sometimes the proposal will come when the working is not there. It is not working, yet machines are only being overhauled or operation. Some industries like sugar industry are not working in off season. They are just closed because there is a season of only few months. And after the season is closed, they are not going for insurance. And then they will first clean, dismantle, clean all the machines, do the overhauling, which goes for months together. And then they should go for policy. If there is no continuous policy, then they should go for policy when everything is done. But what they do is they will ask for a policy. So from the practical point of view and from the exam point of view, though everything is covered, like being dismantled, cleaning, overhauling, we say that is in the currency of the policy. If the insured opts for a policy or comes for a policy when there is no cover, there is a break or there is no insurance, and what presently is being done is only cleaning and overhauling, then the policy cannot start during the overhauling operation. These operations are covered for loss in the currency of the policy and not opting for the policy at the overhauling. So if the question comes like if the policy wants to take a policy and there is no policy but now wants to take a policy, and at present he is not working, machines are not in the working, but there is only cleaning and overhauling operation going on, then we cannot issue the policy. It has to be in working condition and then in the currency of the policy, in between when they have at regular interval they want to do cleaning, overhauling or dismantling, it will get covered. Cover does not commence when being dismantled or overhauling operation.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
During the currency of policy, suppose the need arises that the machine needs to be transferred to the repairers or the service providers premises, then suppose claim has been there, whether it is payable or not. because the word specifically used within the premises.
Yes, now you are giving an example that it has to be shifted to the repairer.
Hmm.
If it is to be shifted to the repairer, first thing I would say there is a defect. There is something happened, right?
Okay.
Then something has happened. Then what is the first step that you have to do when there is something to the machine?
No, but it is just for the service purpose. Not we are not saying that for the repairing
Because
something or
because
for.
first you said for the repair purpose. Then I would say if for repair purpose, then where is the survey being done? So if there is for repair purpose, then everything will be done in the presence of the surveyor only. You have to appoint a
Okay.
surveyor. Then we don't
Okay.
have to worry. Surveyor will take care
Okay.
whether it needs to be
Okay.
shifted or not. Generally, the survey will
Okay.
be done at the location, no? It will not be
Okay.
shifted. In the presence of the surveyor, if surveyor feels that this cannot be repaired here, it needs to be shifted, then surveyor will take that responsibility of how he should go about it. If you are saying for the service purpose, if you are
Hmm.
saying for the service purpose, yet within the location it is covered. But
Okay.
if it goes outside, then the damages are not covered because this is an installed machinery cover, no?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So,
Thank you. Thank you.
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Machineries and associated hazards, these are for knowing because these are there in our books or it is given. So just a knowledge we should have that what are the losses associated hazards of different machineries: boilers, explosion and collapse or overheating; pressure plant, internal pressure and collapse; steam turbines, catastrophic risk due to speed and weight of revolving parts; disruption due to centrifugal force; steam, gas, diesel, petrol engines due to overheating due to leak of cooling water; transmission towers and lines due to windstorm. Generally, with the little bit knowledge what we have, not much, but the nature of the plant or the boiler, and we know about this. But just if we go through, then if it is asked as to which is associated with which type of machinery, we should be aware of these basic things. If the material handling machinery, then mechanical and electrical breakdown is more. Pumps and compressors, failure of the mechanical components like bearing, misalignments, faulty casting; refrigerating and air conditioning plants and electric motors and generators, insulation breakdown due to over voltage, over current, temperature, and ventilation. These are just examples. Mostly we know by our little general knowledge as to which machineries are prone to which damages. Power plants, hazards during construction, handling heavy machinery, accumulation at site, inadequacy of safety precautions, third party liability. These are the hazards more associated with the power plants. During construction also, handling because of heavy machinery, accumulations at site of various machineries, safety precautions if they are not taken, or corrosion and third party liability is also a heavy risk. Main hazards during operations or rupture of steam or fuel pipes, fires in the cable galleries, transformers, switching rooms, third party liability due to leakage and pollution also. Okay. In case of premium rates for machinery policy, 4 different sets of rates are there for machinery insurance policy: mechanical items, electrical items, machinery in cold storage and ice plants, and fertilizer plants and petrochemical plants and refineries. So there are 4 sets of rates that can be asked as to how many sets of rates are there. Policy should not be issued if MB proposal received in overhauling period, either on short period or annual basis until overhauling is completed. So this is important from the day to day working. Also, sometimes the proposals which we receive, if we do not ask them, they will simply go for a machinery policy. So generally, in case of machinery policy, when we are doing, we should ask these questions about the previous policy. Then if no previous policy, then inspection. Then if we do inspection, we will come to know whether it is in working condition or it is during the overhauling. So if we know these things, you will automatically will be able to answer these questions. If the machineries are old, we are not insuring unless doing inspection. So, or if there is break, then if there is a break and we do the inspection, these things automatically will come to our notice. Extension with additional premium. Extension with additional premium. What all are extensions or add-ons with additional premium? Damage to foundation of machinery. Sum insured should include the cost of the foundation and tariff rate is applied. Express freight, holiday and overtime rates. The additional rate shall be the average rate applied on the limit selected. Air freight only. Custom duty. So here we see that extension with additional premium is set to the damage of foundation of machinery. So even if we say here, I think we should make a little correction that damage to foundation of machinery, if in the tariff it is shown as an extension with additional premium, then if it is not covered, not shown as covered under the basic policy, then it will not, if it is damaged, claim is not paid. If it is not damaged, then no question of claim. But if foundation of machinery is shown in the policy as in the description and sum insured is not added, then it will result into underinsurance and penalized for underinsurance. You understand the difference? Damage to foundation of machinery, if it is an extension with extra premium, then in the wording, if foundation of the machinery is appearing in the description, if it is added in the description, it will result into underinsurance. But if it is not added and not covered under the policy, then the claim will not be payable for foundation of machinery. Express freight, holiday, overtime rates, air freight. Okay, rates and excess charge exclusively for air freight and the limit selected. For air freight or custom duty, limits have to be selected. On that, premium will be charged as given in the tariff. Exclusions, fire and allied perils. So machinery policy, we cannot call it as an all risk policy. We are calling CAR, ER, EEI as all risk policy. But machinery policy is not all risk policy because it has exclusion. Fire and allied perils and exclusion. Internal fire due to electric faults in the electrical equipment is covered. So this is the generally the exclusion which comes in fire, that internal fire, where insured maybe mostly don't have a machinery policy, MB policy, and they argue on that they should get the claim under the fire policy. So this internal fire gets covered under the machinery policy. Explosion due to centrifugal force and internal pressure is covered. War and allied is exclusion. Nuclear experiments or overload or similar tests is exclusion. Gradually developing flaws, defects, and cracks. So this is a depreciation, deterioration, which comes under this. So that is an exclusion. So main is fire and allied perils is an exclusion under the policy. Normal wear and tear, willful negligence,
Madam, internal
consequential loss.
fire,
Yes.
internal fire due to electrical works is an exclusion or it is
No,
covered?
it's covered. See, first I've written fire and allied perils is exclusion. However, internal fire due to electrical faults in electrical equipment is covered.
Okay.
So it is written next to, for making it clear. Fire is excluded, but internal fire is covered. Normal wear and tear, willful negligence, consequential loss, unless consequential loss is covered under machinery loss of profit. Defects in existence before insurance, damage due to faults, defects for which manufacturer is responsible, exchangeable parts, non-metallic parts, except electrical insulation, operating media, coating of metal parts is an exclusion under the policy. Sum insured of each individual item must represent its new replacement value. Always under all engineering policies, that is the current replacement value, including transportation, cost to site, custom duty, the insurance premium also can be added, other erection and installation cost, that is sum insured, that is new value plus freight plus custom duties, other erection and installation cost. We know this now, that it all can be installation cost, everything should be added and not only the invoice cost of the machinery. Refund for standstill period. Minimum 3 months standstill period is there, then we can give refund for the machinery. What should be the reasons for standstill? But that is important. Again, this can come whether you can give refund in the standstill period for machinery. Yes, you can give refund, but minimum 3 months standstill period should be there, and the reasons for that should be non-availability of raw material, acute power shortage, shortage of water supply. For boilers, steam engineer or DG said, standby machine should be available. In the case of continuous process plants, any breakdown and the plant cannot run, hence refund is to be considered. And claims experience less than 60%, not applicable for seasonal industry like sugar industry, because sugar industry will always have machinery working only for maybe 4 or 5 months and they have gone for an annual policy, then they cannot claim for refund in the remaining period because there is no season for sugar industry. So that is already known that they work only for a season, but annual policy is there. Then they cannot say ask for refund in the standstill period. The continuous process plants, which actually work for the entire year, can claim for refund in the standstill period, provided minimum it is 3 months. And the reason should be like raw material is not available or power shortage is there. And they have but they should have a standby machine. And in case of continuous process plants, any breakdown and the plant cannot run, hence the refund is to be considered. So there is a breakdown in one part in the continuous process plant. There is a breakdown in one part, but because it's a continuous process plant, then the entire plant where there is no damage also cannot work because it's a continuous process plant. If you say after the breakdown, like after a damage, can you claim for standstill refund? No. You cannot claim if the standstill period refund is not applicable following a loss. We are not talking about refund following a loss. We are talking of refund when in a continuous process plant, even after the loss, it is applicable, but not applicable for the plant or the machinery which is damaged. For the other machineries, because they are good, they are not damaged, but there is a break in plant because of the breakdown and the supply, the continuous process gets broken, and the other parts of the continuous process plant machineries insured can claim for standstill period refund. However, minimum 3 months should be there and not applicable for sugar industry. You remember that. That means it is applicable only for the continuous process plants and not for the plants which actually work in the year only for a few months. CPM, contractors, plant and machinery. We have a separate policy as contractors, plant and machinery, which are working at the site, or it can be added in the CR or ER policy also. Items covered are cranes, bumpers, excavators, tunnel boring machines, which are used for the erection and construction of the projects. The CPM policy is issued as an extension of the mother project policy, that is marine cum erection, storage cum erection, CR policy. If the sum insured of CPM is less than 5% of the sum insured, and if it is more, then it has to be covered under the other CPM exclusive policy. Separate CPM policy has to be issued for sum insured above 5%.
Ma'am, is there any limit of 25 lakh also?
Yes, there is a limit of 25 lakhs. And then sometime there was a in the D tariff time, it came that it will be increased, but then subsequently it has not been increased. So you can take it as 25 lakhs only. This is an CPM is an all risk policy with specified exclusions printed on the policy. Okay. All risk policy, again we call it a CPM all risk policy, but exclusions are important. The cover is operative for machines when they are at work or being dismantled or cleaning or overhauling or reassembling thereafter. Rating. Equipments are classified into 5 groups. So 5 groups for machinery, 4 groups. These are also something that can be asked. So again here, work being dismantled or cleaning, overhauling, it is covered, but in that period, policy cannot start. CPM, mobile machineries and plants. In CPM, we have mobile machineries and plant also. Mobile machineries are earth moving machine, tunneling and mining machine, road surface rollers, mobile cranes, mobile power generators. Stationary plant are fixed conveyor system, concrete batching plant, asphalt mixing plant, tower cranes. Okay, so here fixed conveyor system, concrete batching plant, and asphalt mixing plant. Because the word plant comes, you know that it's not a machinery, but it's a plant. However, in case of tower cranes, it's a stationary plant, whereas there can be cranes which are moving cranes also, like mobile cranes. So sometimes there was a question like tower crane, is it a stationary or it's a mobile? So tower crane comes under a stationary and not in the mobile crane. So mobile cranes are different and tower cranes are different. Tower cranes come under stationary and not under moving. Exclusions, loss or damage due to electrical mechanical breakdown, consumable parts like knives, ropes, etc. Wear and tear, loss or damage to plant or machinery working underground. So underground machinery is not covered, not applicable, obviously, because in tunneling work, machine will be working underground. But otherwise, if it is not a tunneling work, then underground machineries are excluded, not covered. If they are required to be working underground, then only in case of tunneling work it will be required. So the purpose is that we should not be covering unknowingly whether it is working underground or above. Loss or damage while in transit is not covered. War and nuclear perils is not covered. While in transit, here it is within the site transit is covered. But within the site also machine will have to be, or crane has to be moved from one place to another, but that should be within the site only. If there are two sites and it is to be moved from one site to another, then that has to be covered under a marine policy and will not be covered by default under the CPM policy. If multiple location policy is taken, in spite of that, cover is only at the site. The transit in between will not get covered. So there can be all India basis, full description with identification number, etc. to be submitted for each equipment. STFI and EQ extra as per zone. Loading 10% for floater cover. Transit between two locations, if required, has to be covered separately. That is, shifting within the site gets covered in the policy. So within the site also there will be shifting from one site to another. So even if you opt for a floater policy, yet transit between two locations or two different sites will not be covered. All sites, even if it is all India basis, all sites should be clearly given, declared by the insured. Boiler policy. Boiler and pressure plant, items covered. Boiler and other pressure vessels are covered under the policy. Scope of cover, explosion and collapse damage. Other than that, fire to boiler and to other pressure plant and to surrounding property of the insured. Legal liability for death, bodily injury or property of the third party can be covered. So third party and surrounding property can be covered as an add-on for the boiler policy. What should be the sum insured? Current replacement value of the items to avoid any underinsurance. Escalation maximum 25% can be opted. Extensions of BPP policy. By payment of additional premium, what can be covered? Surrounding property and damage to third-party property, death and bodily injury. Okay, statutory regulations regarding BPP are important, and from the exam point of view also. Following conditions specifically apply to BPP. The insured boiler should be certified by boiler inspector for use. Boiler being operated by persons holding valid certificate. Permission to use the boiler from the authority by the boiler inspector. If the maximum pressure or load upon the safety valve immediately prior to any explosion or collapse was in excess of the stipulated limit, the insured shall not be entitled for any compensation or indemnity under this policy. So the important points regarding statutory regulations can come from the exam point of view. Exclusions: fire and allied risk of standard fire policy, damage by chemical explosion except in case of recovery boilers or waste heat boilers, wear and tear, wasting of boiler materials, failure of individual tubes. This was sometime asked. And damage by chemical explosion is an exclusion except in recovery boilers and waste heat boilers. Machinery loss of profit. Up till now, we have seen CAR, ER, machinery insurance, CPM insurance. So these policies we have seen and boiler. Now what we see is the loss of profit policy. We have seen fire loss of profit and this is machinery loss of profit. When we see what is gross profit or what is annual turnover, what is standard turnover, all these terminologies are same when it comes to FLOP or MLOP. However, in the rating part, there is a difference that in fire loss of profit, fire rate charged becomes applicable for fire loss of profit. Same rate with same coverage or add-on covers becomes applicable. So it's very simple. You are charging the same rate, whatever discounted rate or whatever rate you are charging for fire, automatically gets charged for FLOP portion also. Only depending upon the indemnity period, then the premium can change. Now, gross profit definition, all is the same for machinery insurance also, that is machinery loss of profit. However, in rating, there is little difference how to rate MLOP and what are the factors to be seen. Comparatively, rating of FLOP is simpler, but in MLOP, you have to be careful with certain points that have to be carefully seen before giving a MLOP cover. This policy covers loss of gross profit following accidental breakdown of machines. Now, after breakdown of a critical machine, the actual cost of replacing the damaged part may not be very huge, but following losses may follow. So, in MLOP, the actual loss to the machinery payable under the policy under the material damage section may be less, but the loss of consequential loss may be very high. So no profit, there is no profit because there is no production, because the if the critical machine is there and it stops working, then the cost of replacing the damaged part may not be very huge, but the part may not be easily available. And in a few days also, because it's a critical machine, the loss to the gross profit or to the turnover may be very high because machines really contribute a loss in the production. No profit will be there because no production is there. Standing charges like salary, interest, rent, etc. are to be paid even after the loss when there is no production. This is the concept of, we know the standing charges are payable under any loss of profit policy. Increased cost of working, that is extra money may be required to start the production from an alternate place or with some alternative machines on hire. So the cost, the consequential loss amount in case of MLOP could be much higher than even fire loss of profit. Now, in MLOP, we see there is a, to understand MLOP very easily, there is a MBD policy. There is accidental breakdown of the machinery. Then the claim is admissible. It causes interruption in the production process, which ultimately results into reduction in the turnover. It could not be made good in the maximum indemnity period, results into loss of gross profit. So there is a MBD policy, accident to machinery, claim is admissible. That is important. If here the claim is not admissible, then the MLOP also is not admissible. Cause is interruption in the production, reduction gets in the turnover. Then that reduction in turnover could not be made good in the maximum indemnity period. That is, if could not be made good, that is, could not achieve or could not make up for the reduction in turnover in the indemnity period, because if there is one machinery damage and if there is a standby machine, so irrespective of machinery damage, the reduction in turnover sometimes can be made up with the other machine. In fire, the entire factory gets like damaged, so the production stops. But in case of machinery, if there is a standby machine and that is used, maybe with some increased cost of working, reduction in turnover can be avoided. But if it cannot be avoided, then it will result into loss of gross profit. Now, who can be the insured? And insured must have a machinery breakdown policy in force, and risk must be earning gross profit. Net loss situations can also be covered, but no insurance cover to risk with gross loss. So the same thing we have also seen yesterday, that who can take this policy? Then he should have a machinery. One who has a machinery breakdown policy only can go for MLOP. And period of insurance must match, because if after taking the has to match, because if after taking the machinery policy, even after 15 days you go for MLOP policy, there is no problem till the end of machinery policy. But if the machinery loss of profit cover is running, but machinery policy has expired and insurance does not insure, then we may land up paying LOP and not without having a machinery policy. So the dates have to match for machinery and loss of profit. Then the risk must be earning gross profit. If it is not earning gross profit, then we cannot give the policy. It can be net loss, but not gross loss. Gross loss situation will arise when turnover of the risk is not sufficient to meet the any manufacturing expenses. Then it generally results into gross loss. What insurance pays? Loss of net profit following reduction in turnover, plus continued fixed expenses during the interruption period, what we call as standing charges. Increased cost of working if incurred. Increased cost of working if incurred, and if the increased cost of working should not be more than the, what is saved, the turnover saved, less. Saving in fixed expenses during the maximum indemnity period. So even if we say that continued fixed expenses during the period are payable, that is, we say in FLOP, MLOP, that any consequential loss, that standing charges are payable. So what are the standing charges? Standing charges are the charges which becomes payable irrespective of reduction in the turnover. So the expenses of like tax, insurance, auditor's fees, salaries. So these are the expenses which have to be paid irrespective of reduction in turnover. However, if the insured is able to reduce some of the fixed expenses, not because it is covered under the policy, it has to be paid by default. If it generally it requires to be paid. However, standing charges, if the insured is able to save any of the fixed expenses during the indemnity period, that is during the period when there is we are paying the claim, in that period, if there is any saving in the fixed expenses, that will get reduced from the claim of loss of profit. So what is payable under the policy? Loss of net profit due to reduction in turnover, continued fixed expenses. So we say net profit plus standing charges is the gross profit. So we are paying net profit, standing charges, plus increased cost of working, less saving in fixed expenses during the indemnity period. Now definition, this is repetition, but we'll see again. Turnover is fixed cost, variable cost plus net profit is the turnover. Gross profit, in other words, we can say turnover minus variable cost is the gross profit. Or we can say gross profit is equal to standing charges plus net profit. Or gross profit is standing charges minus net loss. Same thing we are just repeating again and again. Definitions, rate of gross profit. What is the rate of gross profit? Per unit gross profit earned on the output during the financial year, immediately before the date of damage. Standard output is the output during that period in 12 months immediately before the date of damage, which corresponds to the indemnity period. So if 6 months indemnity period, we are going to pay the claim for, so that 6 months indemnity period in the previous year. Annual output during the 12 months. immediately before the date of damage. These three are important. That annual output is date of loss. Before that annual output is the 12 months period before the loss. Why we are trying to see the annual output when we have the output during the last financial year is to see the trend in the business. Last year, the uh, gross profit was more or the turnover was more. But if you see the annual output before 12 months, immediately before the date of damage, which will have few months of current year and few months of the previous year and not corresponding with the financial year, then if there is an increasing trend or decreasing trend in the output in the business production will be understood from that. Gross profit taken for the policy is based on the last year's gross profit and anticipated gross profit for the next year. But if in the next year, where the loss takes place, if the production is less and the profit is less, then we will not be paying the profit same as what he has earned last year. So if the sufficient gross profit is covered, then even if there is increasing trend, the claim becomes payable with a higher gross profit, but for which insured has to opt for a higher gross profit. So to know whether there is underinsurance or not, whether the gross profit taken as the sum insured under the policy, whether it is correct or not, we have to see the annual output just before the date of loss. And standard output we have to check to confirm as to what was the turnover in the indemnity period and what was the turnover in the same few months in the last year. So this gives an more accuracy to know what is the trend of business. Okay, to which adjustment shall be done for trend in business, variation or special business circumstances. Surveyor will do those adjustments considering the trend in the business. So MLOP sum insured is the expected gross profit, that is net profit plus standing charges, that is equal to gross profit based on the last year's accounting figures after taking into account trend of increase or decrease expected in the current year. So last year, if the profit was more, but many establishments or industries, it has happened that during the COVID, there was no production. So that year, the gross profit was very meager. But now they know that their industry will run full-fledged and they will have a good business, good output. Then they go for a higher gross profit for the renewal. So it is based on the last year's gross profit, but it can be taken on the higher or lower depending on the expected gross profit. Premium rate for MLOP is little different from fire. As I said, fire it is simpler. It depends on relative importance of the machine. Normally expressed in percentage. Is that machine, how important that machine is for the running of the business or for the output of the insured machine in relation to the final product and in comparison to other machines. Standby machinery will reduce the relative importance, the interruption period and the loss amount. If it's a standby machinery, then if insured has one machinery which is insured and has a standby machinery for that, then he has to use the standby machinery. It will reduce the relative importance of the first machinery. It will reduce the interruption period and the loss amount. So having a standby machine is also a good risk for MLOP. If the importance of the machine is very high, it has no standby machine, then it is a very crucial machine, critical machine for the production. Then the chances of losses are more. These are the factors to be considered while rating for MLOP. Indemnity period defined as the maximum period of interruption following breakdown of insured machine for which insurer is liable. This can be equal or less than the policy period. We know that. Time excess. Machinery breakdown, loss of profit, standalone policy with MBD cover.
Ma'am, any limit for indemnity period?
Yes, same indemnity period. That is
3 months and 3 years.
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So time excess is there in all indemnity policy. In loss of profit policies, we will have time excess. So 14 days of standard gross profit. Standalone policy with MBD cover. Deterioration
What
of
if there is no gross profit? Because if it is a first year new business they have started, then how will
yes,
it be considered?
yes, you can give the policy. Generally, it is preferable that first year, yet it should be running for 6 months at least. Just try to understand. We don't, not that we cannot give, but minimum 6 months should be there. Like it cannot be given before the functioning starts. Okay. Before an industry starts, we cannot give MLOP. At least it should be running for minimum 6 months. Then you know the, okay, then you know the profit for, at least he has a profit. He does not have a balance sheet, right? Does not have a balance sheet, but he has all the figures for first 6 months. In such cases, only consequential loss policy should be given. From the day one, we cannot give consequential loss policy.
Okay.
Okay. Some experience should be there. So not 1 year, but at least after starting of 6 months running, then when you know whether it can at least run or not, and seeing that 6 months, they can declare us the figures, though they don't have a annual balance sheet. Okay, but just the beginning, like still operation has to start, and then we give a fire and FLOP or machinery with MLOP. That is not possible. We should not give. Deterioration of stock insurance. Now, contents in cold storage. First, we understand what is the need for deterioration of stock insurance. Now, in case of fire, we see that when there is a fire, stock gets damaged due to fire, or machinery is damaged due to power failure, and the contents get damaged. So, contents are not damaged by fire, but contents are damaged due to fire and temperature failure due to fire, but fire to the power station by the perils covered, that results into temperature failure and deterioration of stock. Now, this is a similar cover, you can say. But in fire policy, we say that the power temperature variation and power failure, what should be the reason? Reason should be one of the fire perils covered under the policy. So it is connected to the perils covered under the policy. Similar now, we are seeing deterioration of stock insurance against MBD. Now here, machinery should be damaged by one of the perils covered under the policy. So in fire, it is connected to the fire perils. In deterioration of stock under engineering is connected to the machinery insurance. If the machinery is damaged due to perils covered under the MB policy, and due to that the contents get damaged, then that is covered under the policy. Now, subject matter of insurance is contents of the cold storage. Potatoes, other than potatoes like fish, seafoods, cheese, dairy products, fruits, etc. Risk covered is contamination, putrefaction, deterioration following a breakdown of refrigerating unit. So basically, one point you must understand that deterioration of the contents in fire, it can happen by default with the fire also. But when it is not due to fire, but it is due to variation in temperature, reason is the variation in temperature, but variation in temperature is linked to the fire perils, not independent of the fire perils. Now here also, contamination to the or deterioration to the contents is due to the breakdown of the refrigerating unit. And why breakdown of refrigerating unit? It should be by the perils covered under a machinery breakdown policy. So by default, you must have a MB policy. That it should result into breakdown of refrigerating unit and result into contamination or deterioration of the stock. And you should have then a deterioration of policy also. You should have additionally. Otherwise, even if you don't have a deterioration of stock cover, and reason is breakdown of refrigerating unit, yet the contents are not payable. That is what becomes the confusion with the, or there is no proper understanding with the insured, that we have gone for a MB policy and cause of the deterioration of the stock is the breakdown of machinery, which is covered under the policy. Then they expect that the contents, damage to the content due to the breakdown of machinery gets payable. No. For that, you have to go for the add-on cover. DOS
Excuse
policy.
me, ma'am.
Yes.
The same principle is applied for to trigger this fire LOP and MLOP. I mean, uh, when the fire peril is covered, then the claim will be payable in FLOP. And same way, when the machinery breakdown peril is operated, then only a claim will be payable in MLOP.
Yes, both policies. The basic
Okay.
cause must be the peril covered under the policy to which the consequential loss policy is connected. Cause cannot
Okay,
be
ma'am.
anything other than the basic cause under the basic policy.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Loss to contents of cold storages caused by damage to any cold storage machinery by accidental means subject to admissibility of the claim under machinery insurance policy covering the cold storage machines. So cold storage machinery is there. It is covered under the machinery policy. There is a claim on the MI policy. It is admissible under the policy. Then the question of DOS cover will come. Rise or fall in temperature at the cold storage chamber resulting from the breakdown of refrigerating machine. So ultimately, why the loss takes place? Because there is a fall in the temperature. So proximate cause, like you can say the cause of deterioration will be temperature falling. But reason for temperature falling is the refrigerating machinery. Reason for failure of refrigerating machinery is the breakdown covered under the policy. Sum insured, maximum value of stock in the cold storage at any one time. The relative stock is to be covered under the policy. Extensions and exclusions of DOS policy. There can be some extensions under the policy. And what are the major exclusions under the policy? Failure of electric supply at terminal end due to machinery breakdown at local supply place. Only failure of electrical supply, not covered. Rationing, if fuel so this is same like FLOP what we have seen. Deterioration of stock due to FLOP. DOS losses not covered are following losses are not covered. Shrinkage, inherent defects or disease, improper storage, damage to packing material, insufficient circulation of air, willful act on part of the insured or its representative, excess or deductible franchise as stipulated in the policy. So FOES is an extension under the policy. In this slide, we have extension and exclusion both combined. So FOES, I have also said that FOES, the abbreviation is also important because failure of electric supply, we all know, but when it comes to FOES, we suddenly don't realize. So FOES is the failure of electric supply at terminal end due to machinery breakdown at the local supply place. So this can be, as an extension, it can be taken. Similar to what we have seen, two causes in the DOS against fire policy, that is one at the failure at the insured's power station and one at the main power station. So similarly, at the supply place also, there is failure of electric supply, then it can be, the deterioration can be covered. But excluding the fuel shortage or rationing, that is deliberate, if there is power cut, that will all not be covered. So that is similar.
And time why 24 hours?
Yes, that will be there. 24 hours is always there. Okay. 24 hours is the minimum period that the refrigerating plant should work for, at least 24 hours, right? Electronic equipment policy. This is a simple policy which we all know, but there are one or two points which we
What
must.
is excess, ma'am? What is excess in DOS policy?
I think it is the same as given in the 14 days for the 14 days excess. 7 and the 14 days generally it is must be 14 only as given in the fire DOS policy. However, for any changes, refer to the IRDA excess circular, which will give correct
Excuse
excess
me,
for
ma'am.
all the policies. Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. In this deterioration of stock policy for potato, there is something is written in book like in total capacity of the storage, the sum assured is fixed according to that. Can you please
Yes.
throw some light on that?
Actually, I don't have this because I thought it will going too much into the detail. So
Okay.
yes. So if required, you can just put what all is the additional that you require. We will
Okay, ma'am.
try to share it. There is some condition on potato policy of inspection, particularly in the month of before the rain start.
15th April.
Yes, yes. So that condition is also there. Few conditions are there in DOS potato policy. So if you want, we can share it. Like, okay.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Any queries also you can put, then we can share.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, what
Electronic
is the excess of BPP policy?
excess of boiler policy. Boiler
5% or 10,000, whichever is.
5% or 10,000.
In
Yes.
Yes,
reply book, it is nil.
Sorry.
5% of claim amount subject to minimum 10,000.
Okay, sir.
Yes, that is correct. Yes. And I would say there is one single circular of 2 pages of IRDA of 2011 giving all excess from fire, engineering, including all cellular network policy. All these excess are given in one circular. Okay. Including the time excess also. Electronic equipment policy. Some important points of electronic equipment policy. Objects covered, we know computers, biomedical equipments, X-ray equipments, audio video equipments, EPBX, various medical equipments like scanners, all come under electronic equipment. We are aware of that. This is an all risk cover with the following risks: named risk, damage due to carelessness, negligence of employees, fire, lightning, explosion, moisture, humidity, riot, strike and malicious damage, burglary, electrical and mechanical breakdown. So we see that electronic equipment policy is the one which is again on the all risk side. It covers fire and allied perils, then burglary, and also the breakdown. So machinery breakdown cover, fire cover, burglary cover. Everything is there in this single policy. So when electronic equipment is covered under the EI policy, then that electronic equipment need not be covered under the fire section, or you can get discount for because it is already covered under the fire section. All risk policy, that is important. Sections under EI policy are generally what we are covering is only the section 1. I think 99% or all 100% policies, we go for only the material damage to equipments only. And so in exam, they go for section 2 and 3. And most of the times, even we don't realize that there is section 2 and 3 under the EI policy. And we think that EI policy is we know everything about the policy. Cover for material damage is section 1. Cover for material damage to the external data media is section 2. And section 3 gives increased cost of working following breakdown of the equipment. So physical part of the machines with auxiliaries like CPU, monitors, printers, keyboard, everything, speakers, even the items which provide the computer environment like room air conditioners, UPS, voltage stabilizers are covered in the section 1. Now, section 2 gives material damage to external data media. The sum insured shall be the amount required for replacing the lost or the damaged data media by which the new material and for reproducing lost information only, but not for the master data, for backup data. So, the material damage to the external data media is only covered and the expenses required. Now, you have a software which is coming with the machine is only covered, but not any other software which is stored in the machine. That we know, I think, that software which is stored, which can be available and which is stored somewhere is not covered. But what comes with the equipment as a basic software, only that software gets covered. And external data media only gets covered. And what is increased cost of working? Following the breakdown of equipments as covered under section 1. The additional cost may be for using the substituted equipment, personnel, and cost of transportation. So a very simple question was once asked as to whether section 3 in the EI policy is connected to section 2 or section 1. So section 3 of the is related not to the damage to the data media, but it is related only to the physical damage to the equipment, the basic cover. So section 3 is connected to section 1 and not to section 2. That is important. Very, very simple thing, but which goes unnoticed or not. It is because mostly not required in the day-to-day working. So what are the exclusions?
Ma'am,
Yes?
section 2 and 3 is optional cover or compulsory cover?
Optional.
Okay.
Loss or damage due to wear and tear, defects for which manufacturer is responsible, due to willful act. These we know these common exclusions. So consequential loss of any kind in section 2 of the policy. Why it is mentioned as consequential loss of any kind in section 2 of the policy? Because section 1 related consequential loss, increased cost of working is as good as a consequential loss. So that is covered. So any consequential loss in section 2 of the policy is not covered. Any cost arising from false programming, punching, or inadvertent cancelling of information. So only the physical loss or damage that we are talking about, that we are aware now about the EI policy. Claims under EI policy, some important points in the EI policy that we see, that repairs, indemnity is cost of repairs plus the cost of dismantling, re-erection. No deduction for depreciation for parts. Parts, no depreciation, but total loss claim is settled with depreciation. Total loss is not without depreciation. One basic thing we have to remember is all engineering policies, cost of replacement cost we are insuring it for at the reinstatement cost. So when the parts are payable, they are subject to total cost of the parts without any depreciation. So for partial loss. But if the machine is total loss, then it is subject to depreciation. And if the sum insured, however, we are saying that parts are payable without any depreciation. But if the underinsurance is there, like not taken on the reinstatement cost, which most of the times happens because it is not covered at the replacement cost. It is covered at the depreciated cost, or it is covered with the initial cost that is covered. Sometimes in the electronic equipments, actually the value mostly goes on reducing and not increasing much in electronic equipment. But in machinery breakdown, there will be heavy underinsurance if the same sum insured is continued. But in EI, mostly the values of the electronic equipments are reducing many a times for most of the PCs and the computers. Okay, so partial loss without depreciation, total loss with depreciation. However, underinsurance will depend on whether adequate sum insured has been taken. So partial loss, no depreciation is charged, but if there is underinsurance, there can be no depreciation, but charging of condition of average will still become applicable. In external data media, floppies, disks, etc., indemnity is for all expenses within a period of 12 months from the date of loss. Expenses incurred for restoring the insured external data media to a pre-loss condition. What are the payable in case of section 2? Is the all expenses within a period of 12 months from the date of loss. What are the expenses? The restoring the insured external data media to a pre-loss condition. Only the expenses incurred. Increased cost of working, indemnify the additional expenditure following the admissible loss in policy, hiring additional machines or for using new premises to carry out the work at higher cost. So insured is hiring some people or hiring some other location to run the business, and he's incurring some expenses, that is the increased cost of work. But as we know, increased cost of work should not be more and saved is less, then it will not be payable. Reinstatement of sum insured is applicable in all policies, engineering policies. This condition is there by default. After the loss, the sum insured stands reduced. So, to bring it to the original, the sum insured has to be reinstated. Discount on EI policy. I think we all know about this. For discount for fire for equipments covered under EI policy, as also under fire policy with all extension, then 10% discount. And without any extensions or with some extensions under fire policy, then 5% discount on fire rate. So 5% or 10% with depending on the some add-on covers opted. CECR, Civil Engineering Completed Risk Insurance. I think we just take a break of 5 minutes and then start again. Just 5 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
we start CECR, that is Civil Engineering Completed Risk Insurance. What happens is we know that under construction CR is taken, and in erection policy is taken. Once the construction is completed or erection is completed, then the fire policy is taken. When once the project is handed over, then fire policy has to be taken by the principal. But sometimes it is still under the responsibility of the contractor and not handed over to the principal, in which case then because it's already completed, there are various risks that the project is exposed to, and we will see the combination of various risks under this policy, under the CECR policy. Though we are not much giving these policies, but from the exam, what is the full form of CECR? Even that could be Civil Engineering Completed Risk Insurance. It's a comprehensive insurance protection against loss or damage after the construction has been completed. So one point to be noted is after the construction has been completed. So it's not under construction. Named peril policy. Impact damage by waterborne vehicles and aircraft. You will see that in the fire policy, we have the impact damage and we have aircraft damage, but we don't have waterborne vessel damage covered under the fire policy. So this covers even waterborne, that is one additional. Earthquake, volcanic eruption, tsunami, storm, flood, inundation, subsidence, landslide, rock slide, frost, avalanche, vandalism by individual persons, fire, lightning, explosion. So most of the covers are there except waterborne, which is not there. Frost is not there in our normal policy. Exclusions, willful act, inherent vice, that is okay, the common exclusions. Loss due to inadequate maintenance, consequential loss, war, SRCC. SRCC can be added by extra premium. Now, this is just in short. Yes.
In CECR policy, generally, who is insured? I mean, who is taking this policy?
It is because the contractor, he is not handing over to the principal, who is constructing. Like if it is a bridge, it is constructed but completed, but it is not handed over.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Advanced loss of profit policy. I think very few we are giving policies, not as common as FLOP. FLOP maximum, then sometimes MLOP, and ALOP is very rarely given. So we tend not to know much about this policy. And MLOP and FLOP have some common features. So lot of common features are there. But when it comes to ALOP, then we don't know much about it because it's not the same nature, it's different. So regarding ALOP, though it is not much practically given, from the exam point of view, sometimes there is many questions are asked on ALOP, or sometimes few questions, but some questions are certainly asked on ALOP. So whom the ALOP policy, there are some only few points, like maybe 10 points that we have to remember about ALOP, the crucial points. Issued only to the principals or owner of the project. So here we see it is not to the any contractor, but it is only to the principal or owner of the project in advance of the actual commencement of the business for delay in commencement of the project. So FLOP and MLOP come after the commencement of the project. ALOP comes before the commencement of the project. So this is a little complicated policy. It is meant for delay in the commencement of a project because of a loss which happened before the commencement of the project, because in the erection or construction, though it is related to CAR and ER policy. So this ALOP policy covers financial loss due to delay in start of the project because of what? damage to the project arising out of insured peril of the project during the transit, storage, erection, commissioning phase of the project. So as we say, FLOP is connected to the fire perils, MLOP connected to the machinery perils, ALOP is connected to the CR or ER perils. There is a loss because in the CR or ER phase, because of which loss is payable under the CR or ER policy. But what gets delayed? The commencement of the project itself gets delayed because of the loss during the erection or construction phase of the policy. Because of that loss, loss gets payable under the policy, the physical material damage loss. But because of that loss, in FLOP or MLOP, we see that what it affects the profit. And base is the last year's profit. But in ALOP, because it's a new project, you don't have the base of the last year's profit. So assessment of the loss also becomes difficult. It is delay that has taken place and the commencement of the project gets delayed, then the claim becomes admissible. Cause has to be the perils covered under CR or ER policy. So ALOP is connected to erection or construction up to the commissioning phase of the project. So first we should know basically why the ALOP policy is there, for what purpose. Now ALOP, it is a particular class of consequential loss. It is also a consequential loss and covers financial consequences of a delay in estimated commercial operation date, COD. Estimated commercial operation date, because operation date is not a exact one date, but it's a estimated commercial operation date. Because of, what is the reason? Accidental damage to the project material admissible under the material damage section of an ER or CR insurance policy. So here again the precondition is that there has to be a CR ER policy. There is a loss on the CR or ER policy due to the perils covered under the CR or ER policy, admissible under the policy, due to which there is a delay in the project, and that delay in the project we are trying to compensate. Right? We will see how it goes about. ALOP, financial consequences. Okay, COD is clear, right? ALOP, financial consequences of a project delay. What happens if there is a delay? Because what are we then going to pay? Yes, financial consequences of a project delay. Liquidity, that is short-term flow, is affected. Profitability is affected because the long-term cash flow gets affected. Growth gets affected. Standing charges and continuing expenses during the delay period. So standing charges may start at the project commencement date, that is COD date. So standing charges and continuing expenses also get affected because of the delay in the project. Some standing charges may start. So not as simple as a standing charges in a project which is already completed. Policy covers financial losses in the form of continuing expenses such as term loan, debentures, wages, salaries, etc., and anticipated profit. In the ALOP, because the project gets delayed, the financial loss that is there, it relates not only to the standing charges of a project which is already started, but in a project where the loan has been taken. So it will affect the loan, amount of loan, the debentures, wages, salaries. So it's a mixture of the standing charges, little different from the other FLOP or MLOP. Anticipated gross profit, turnover, and the indemnity period are factors deciding premium payable. Other name of this policy is DSU, that is delay in startup policy. So ALOP, as we said, is connected to CR and ER policy. DSU term is used also for in connection with the marine policy. So in case of this ALOP, also can be given in case of connected to a marine policy, wherein it is called as DSU, delay in startup. Also can be given in as in pre-policy for marine policy. So CRER, we call it as ALOP. When it is connected to marine, then it can be called as DSU, delay in startup. So ALOP and DSU are the same terms. Exclusions, material damage, obviously because material damage gets covered under your CRER policy or the marine policy. Unsatisfactory repairs from the client's viewpoint causing delays and consequential losses. Now, are not from the client's point of view, after the material damage claim is paid, the damages are not satisfactorily repaired. That is from the client's point of view, that can causing delays and consequential losses. So in his viewpoint, the repairs have not been satisfactorily. But from the surveyor point of view, if it is done, then there is delay because he is not satisfied with the repairs, and he is again digging and delaying the repairs. So that will be, of course, all this will be decided by the expert, that is the surveyor, provided such repairs are proper as per the surveyors and classification societies. So if the repairs are done and repairs a material damage, there is a claim that is payable, and then delay is what is covered under the policy. But if there is an additional delay, so we are saying the delay also will be assessed whether the delay as claimed by the insured is correct from our point of view. So surveyor is the person who will assess the period of delay. Insured may claim for a higher delay period, but we will have to see as an insurance company what is the reasonable period of delay to be considered. Standard exclusions, loss or damage due to inventory losses, loss or damage to the surrounding property or plant and machinery. Where this is covered, this will be covered under the CAR or ER. Restrictions any imposed by public authority because of which it gets delayed. Non-availability of funds for repairs or replacement. So there could be a loss under the CR policy, and repairs or replacements are delayed because of non-availability of funds. Delay in the shipment of the supplies. So, okay, then some damage is there and the material does not reach the site due to shipments. That will also not be considered. Normal project schedule slippage. Then any delay, cancellation of the license by the government restriction, stoppage of work, strike or any other interference. So assessment of the delay period by the surveyor will also be a very crucial, considering the delay only due to the material damage and the reasonable period for repair as decided by the surveyor. Fundamentals of ALOP. The ALOP policy is mainly given to the principal. Concurrent material damage insurance has to be there. This is just a revision. Same insurers for ALOP and MD, like machinery policy, the material damage policy and the ALOP policy. Insurance period identical to the erection period. Only one claim per policy, irrespective of number of accidents. So in the erection period, there could be not one, but more accidents. And when the ALOP will trigger? Only when the term is completed and the erection is completed and there is expected period of COD and the actual period of completion of the erection or construction, when it is completed, only then we will know what is the delay period. So it is not necessary that one loss is there, claim is admissible. Claim will be admissible only after the delay period is decided. When the delay period will be decided? After the completion of the construction. So, though the ALOP policy, though it's a policy before the, not after the loss, but it is before the CRER policy, the loss will not be payable as soon as there is a loss on the CR policy. It will all depend on how much delay is there in starting of the project. It depends on delay in the project. So there could be not one, there could be more incidents in the project period which result into delay. some of the accidents may not result into delay also. So delay period will be assessed only after the construction or erection is completed. So in spite of more number of incidents, ALOP, there is going to be only one claim and one time excess. So there cannot be number of claims in ALOP policy. There can be only one claim under ALOP policy. Indemnity period should be sufficiently long to take care of maximum delay that can occur due to a worst possible accident during transit or construction phase. That is, the insured should take a sufficient period considering there could be more accidents. So net profit situation and net loss situation, we know when there is, we have seen this, when there is turnover, standing charges plus variable cost, then there is net profit and there is gross profit, specified working expenses. And what will be the net loss situation? When your standing charges and variable cost are more, turnover becomes less, then the gross profit is there, but there is a net loss because your expenses, simple as that, your expenses are more than the earning or what you get from the turnover. One unique feature of ALOP, one insured party, one completion date, one scheduled commencement date, one delay, then one indemnity resulting from the lost revenue, one time excess, and one claim. So one is a unique feature of ALOP policy. Everything can be only one and not more than one. So now we have some questions. We can see from some few, and any doubts that can be cleared, and a few questions we can see. I think ALOP should be clear.
Excuse me, ma'am, that concurrent damage I'm not able to understand. What is the concurrent damage, ma'am?
In ALOP?
Yes, ma'am. Before slide. Concurrent material damage. What is that, ma'am?
Yes. So this is also what we are saying, only one claim per policy irrespective of number of incident. Concurrent material damage in material damage section is more than one damage.
Okay.
Right. There can be, again and again, there can be damages in material damage section. However, delay will be assessed only after everything is completed. Right.
Okay.
Yes. Now, few questions we will see. And any doubts before that?
Ma'am, what is the escalation percentage in engineering policies?
It is 25 and 50 in some of the policies.
Okay. CAR, EAR, 50, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. These questions are based on what we have covered, but just we see few of them. Then in ER insurance, the contractors may take cover during the maintenance period, also known as testing period, defect liability period, material damage cover, or extension period. Defect liability does not come in the maintenance period. In ER insurance, the contractors may take cover during the maintenance period, also known as yes. Okay. So we what we see as DE 1, 2, 3, 4 is the extensions or add-on what we consider as the maintenance period. The another wording for is also the defect liability period. Not all, when the insured is asking, the other terminology for maintenance period is also defect liability period. Right? Is that clear? Maintenance period, what we call as extended maintenance period, is also known as defect liability period. It's not related to DE 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? It is not related to DE 1, 2, 3, 4, but maintenance period, extended maintenance is also known as defect liability period. Maintenance period also called as defect liability period, the other terminology. In ER policy, third party liability is covered under. In the ER policy, the section 1 is the material damage, section 2 is the third party liability cover. And this is something that third party liability, whether it is section 2 or section 3. So third party liability is the section 2 under a erection all risk policy. Section 1 is always the material damage section. Section 2 is the third party liability. If you just open one of the CR and ER policies and go through the sections, we know what all are covered under the policies, but sometimes we don't know what is called as what section. Like in an IR policy, the section 1 covers even the fire loss and the machinery breakdown. Is not two different sections. It is one sections only. MD section covers fire as well as burglary, as well as electronic equipment, as well as the even the machinery breakdown cover. And second section is just the loss of profit cover. So we feel that as we, while rating, we do first fire and then MBD. We feel that MBD is the second section. MBD is not the second section. All fall under the material damage section. So I would say that in all policies where there are different sections, just open the policies once and see what falls under which section. Like in EI, section 1 is the material damage, section 2 is the external data media, and section 3 is the increased cost of working. If you say ER, CR policies, section 1 is the material damage, section 2 is the third party liability. So that way also they can ask questions. Cold testing is checking of elements and insured parts under no load. A cold testing is no load, and full load, then it is hot testing. Right. In the European market, a special cover, which is combination of CR and ER, is known as contract works insurance. Then is in a CR and ER, combination of in the European market is known as contract works insurance. We are not selling that, but just for information. A combination of CR and ER is known as contract works insurance. What we do is we issue a CR policy or a ER policy. When more than 50% is there, we issue CR policy. And where the other erection part is more, we issue ER policy. So contract works insurance is a combination of CR and ER. It is sufficient to know that. Main objective of CPM insurance is to protect the construction tools and equipments under construction damage, or to protect plant and machinery against wear and tear damages, or to protect tools and equipments against all external damages. So it is not any particular damage, but to protect tools and equipments against all external damages. Additional insured in ALOP policy is, yes, ALOP policy, we have seen that it can be given only in the name of principal or the owner. So we cannot give in the name of the contractor. So principal can go for, like erection or CR policy can be taken as a contractor also, and contractor plus principal, or only contractor or only principal. But ALOP policy is only the principal or the owner. But who can be an additional insured? The question could be there, but not the contractor or subcontractor, but it is only the financer who can be the additional insured. This was also a question sometime asked. We may feel that in addition to principal, contractor can be the additional insured. No, contractor cannot be. It's only the financer. In civil engineering, completed risk policy, in special cases, perils can be added by endorsements. Major perils what we have seen in CR, but some can be added by endorsements. In deterioration of stock policy, yes, potatoes pre-inspection must be carried out during the loading period before 1st April every year. So these are some questions wherein some part I have seen that some part which may not be covered also will come under these little bit extension of the whatever we have covered. Some other points we will get under these questions. So it is required because in the season the potatoes get damaged. So inspection not at any time, but inspection must be done on 1st April. On receipt of claim, yes.
Can you just give an overview of DOS potato?
Yes, potato and DOS is otherwise same. Only potatoes get damaged they are stored in a particular season, and they get damaged also in a particular environment. So the inspection should be done because they get sprouted in the rainy season, and insured should not claim for that. Otherwise, the reason for FOES is the same, whether whatever is the contents. But why little more precaution required for potatoes is because potatoes will get sprouted and insured may claim for that, and that could be due to the environment condition also. And that damage, if it is already getting damaged, getting deteriorated, and there is a claim, so the loss could aggravate. So to know what is the condition, the inspection must be done. That is only difference in the potatoes. We do other things remain same under a cold condition of refrigerator. But in the refrigerator condition also, potatoes may react differently. So we should know what is the condition before the policy.
Ma'am, 72 hours of power failure is compulsory condition in, I mean, in this DOS policy or extension of DOS under fire policy.
Any policy 72 hours clause is there. What is the reason? It is for natural perils, no? Earthquake, flood.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because this, flood, it is there, we feel there is no flood, and suddenly again there is flood. So to differentiate between two causes of losses, the 72 hours clause is there.
No, I'm talking about this power failure. I mean, what number of hours more than that the claim will be paid?
24 hours is there, no? 24 hours.
24 hours. Okay,
yes,
ma'am. Okay.
Yes. Of course, 24 hours is there. In addition, the condition you have to also see that what is the cause, even if it is more than 24. For admissibility, you will have to see also what is the cause. No, cause main is that cause should be related to your MB policy. Yes. So that is the important. On receipt of claim notification under machinery policy, wherein DOS policy is also issued, surveyor must be deputed within the shortest possible time, not exceeding 48 hours. So, because of the nature of the DOS policy, very strict about surveyor deputation. In all policies like that, we say that surveyor deputation should be immediate, but in motor also or in fire also. But in case of DOS policy, specifically a machinery policy where there is an extension of DOS policy, the surveyor deputation is very important, where only machinery, okay, even if the surveyor is delayed, it is still okay because the condition will not change much in case of a machinery policy, even if there is delay in visit of the surveyor. But machinery policy where DOS policy is also issued, surveyor must be deputed immediately. Why this little more stressed on deputation immediately? Because if there is delay and there is a DOS policy loss, surveyor may not know whether it has happened within the 24 hours or at the time of machinery immediately, or it has happened much later. So delay should not be there of more than 48 hours because we already have 24 hours condition there. Right? So this 48 hours has been stressed or it can be asked because of the nature of the DOS policy. In CR policy, as per market practice, first installment has to be the highest. We know that now. Highest and more by 5%. As per the Insurance Act, what should be the duration of the CR policy to get installment facility? It should be more than 12 months, only then installment facility is available. And for refund of premium, 18 months policy should be there. Gross profit is, we have seen gross profit definitions, amount by which sales turnover exceeds the manufacturing cost. There are various ways in which gross profit is defined. So in the exam, they will try to ask you from various angles, like net profit plus standing charges is gross profit. Or in other words, we can say amount by which the sales turnover exceeds the manufacturing cost. Which of the following statements is incorrect in respect of TPL cover under CR or ER policy? Sum insured for TPL cannot be reinstated after the loss. Is incorrect? Yes. Third party liability cover is granted during the extended maintenance period. So third party policy cannot be granted during the extended maintenance period. It is third, TPL cannot be reinstated. So it's a correct statement. Extension rate can be applied to TPL cover also, right? It can be. But third party liability cover is granted during the extended maintenance period. It is not correct. Where the project is mix of old and new machinery, rate applied for new machinery is to applied for TPL cover. No, that is it is for the erection portion. What is the purpose of a feasibility study of a project? To decide workability of the project considering physical environment aspect. So feasible study of the project, it needs to be done before the project starts. So if we say what are the preconditions, then feasibility study of a project is done before starting of any project, before the commencement of the project. So why it is done? To workability of a project considering physical and environmental aspects. So you can say this is some of the important statements. Additional rate for dismantling is 60% of the SCE rate. If both equipment and catalyst are damaged under SCE policy, separate excess shall apply for equipment and catalyst. So these are a few questions that are there. So if
Ma'am,
no
can you just
doubts,
once go through with maintenance cover?
maintenance cover, yes.
Visit maintenance cover and extended maintenance. Can you just once explain it?
Okay, that is one wherein there are always doubts, and that is one without fail there will be a question. Okay, we say project period is there for 18 months. Project is completed. Then only maintenance period starts. You are clear about that, right? Maintenance period is after the completion of the project.
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
there will be a maintenance period. Now, in the maintenance period, the principal or the owner will ask the contractor to do a maintenance. That maintenance may be to visit in the maintenance period and do some jobs. Like maybe it could be anything like checking, testing some parts, or it could be like, cleaning some part, or just visiting, roaming around, and maybe watering some part. So there is a maintenance activity, or it could be something like just putting some maintenance of a road or maintenance of a bridge, just visiting to see whether there is any small holes are there. So fill it, like we get some small cracks or some cut in the building, so painting that portion. So it could be just the maintenance work of the road or the building, to see whether there are any touch up required. So you understand? So this is a visit maintenance cover. And when the person is doing that maintenance work, if there is some damage happening during the maintenance, he is doing something with some instruments and he is damaging the property by mistake, during the maintenance. And that is the visit maintenance damage happening due to the maintenance activity. You have to only remember that in the maintenance there is an activity of maintenance. During that activity some damage happens, that is covered under visit maintenance. But now there is something different in the extended maintenance, wherein extended maintenance says that in the visit maintenance something can happen over and above. What can happen? The construction or erection is just completed and there is a pillar or there is some part, actually there was a defect, but it was standing. Sometimes when there is some damage also, some part stands on its own for some time and then it falls. If a wall is there not constructed properly, there is a defect, it may stand for some time. Even the windmills, they are constructed or erected, actually not constructed. After erection it is standing for 2-3 months, and then the windmill falls. And that falling of the windmill was because of the foundation on which it is built. That foundation is also covered under the policy. That foundation is a main part for windmill, and that foundation is found to be defective, not strong enough. There is no defect in the windmill itself, but the foundation itself was weak, not constructed properly, covered under the policy. And that foundation, because it is not strong, the windmill falls. It falls in the maintenance period. So then that gets covered, because damage in the construction, damage in the erection, but the effect is in the maintenance period. Like if the insured does not opt for any maintenance period and our policy is over, if there is a damage, policy gets over, then it falls. That bridge falls or road there is a major damage, or best example I have given is the windmill. If it falls after the policy period is completed, shall we pay the claim? We will not pay the claim. So in the extended maintenance period, if there is a damage in the construction or erection which was not noticed that time, but it falls or that damage is noticed in the maintenance period, that gets payable because it's an extended maintenance period and not the visit maintenance. Visit maintenance, if anything happens, any damage is noticed in the visit maintenance, but the cause is in the construction, it will not be payable. But if you opt for the second extended maintenance, then the damage which has happened in the construction or the erection period, which was not noticed that time, so insured has not claimed because the effect has come in the maintenance period. Clear?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Is
Ma'am,
that clear? Yes.
a machine is erected on its foundation.
Yes.
Okay. And we have not taken the amount of foundation and damage of machinery.
Yes.
For which we have actual sum insured. Then it would there be any under insurance?
No. See, because foundation is taken as an extension under the policy. Okay. So we cannot say if the foundation is not covered. As I explained when we were explaining the extensions, that foundation is taken as an extension under the policy. Foundation is to be covered as an sum insured under the policy, advisable to be covered. If it is covered, there is a loss, then it will be payable. If it is not covered, then claim is not payable. Now, when the question of underinsurance comes, if you have not covered the foundation, however, in the description it is mentioned,
okay,
then there will be underinsurance, right? In the
mentioned?
description, not if it is not mentioned and not covered, then no claim and no underinsurance.
No, in the claim of machines, machines.
Machine, it is payable. No, machine is payable. Question of foundation, right? Machine.
So we cannot club the sum insured for machine and under foundation for both. It should be treated as separately, na? Foundation and machine sum insured should be treated separately or combined.
No, it has to be declared separately.
Okay.
Because machine, see, machine you are bringing and erecting. So machine has a value. You are purchasing machine, understand, you are purchasing machine from a seller, manufacturer. If its cost is 1 lakh, then there will be cost of bringing the machine you have to add, cost of erection you have to add, you have to add the engineer, the salary that he will be paying, the charges of erection. Machine cannot be brought and just kept. It has to be erected. So machine cost is 5 rupees plus erection cost is going to be 3 rupees, whatever. Now the question comes, it is going to be erected on a foundation. In foundation, the foundation which you are going, you need to build a foundation or you are going to erect it on an existing foundation, right? If you are going to build a foundation, it has to be added. If you are erecting on an existing foundation, yet you have to be add because you have not erected, but you are erecting on a foundation which is already there. Still you have to add it. If you don't add it, then you will not get the claim for the foundation. But in the sum insured breakup, if you have already mentioned the foundation, then the question of underinsurance will come, no, because you mentioned it. If you have not mentioned it, then underinsurance for the foundation will not come. Machinery claim will be payable. If you have not separated it, then that question will come. If you're writing in the description everything and taking one sum insured, you're writing foundation is covered, then underinsurance will be there, no?
Yes. Thank you.
Right? It depends on how you show in the policy. If you don't mention foundation and not covered, then no claim of foundation, and no underinsurance for foundation. For machine, it will depend on the cost of the machine.
Yes,
we are always seeing the replacement cost of the machine, no? Now your purchase price of machine is again not going to be the sum insured at the time of claim. Our policies are long-term policies, especially the erection policy. Then you are taking the cost based on what you are purchasing. But we are issuing these policies based on reinstatement cost and not on the purchase cost. So again, the cost of machine, whether it is adequate or not, will be decided based on the current replacement cost. Current quotation will be taken to see whether you have taken a correct price, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Replacement cost. Okay. Anything else? What is the last question? What is the last question? That
Maintenance and visit maintenance are equal, madam. Same are, madam.
what did you say?
Maintenance and visit maintenance.
No. I think I don't understand. Visit maintenance and extended maintenance separately I have explained. Both are separate.
Only maintenance. Only maintenance and extended maintenance.
Yes. When you say only maintenance, no, you read that what is given. When it is given only maintenance, no, it means visit maintenance.
Maintenance and visit maintenance are equal.
Yes. Only maintenance is the visit maintenance.
Okay,
Only
thank you.
maintenance only we call it is the visit maintenance.
Okay.
And extended maintenance is with the cover of damages which has taken place before but noticed at the time of maintenance period. Right. You are saying visit maintenance, that is the plain maintenance is the visit maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
What is the last question somebody is referring to?
Ma'am, can you explain please one more time the defect design, ma'am?
Defect?
Defect design. D1, D2.
D1, D2. Okay, D1, D2 is like you take the example, the best example given, you take a paper and you draw one rod, and outside that you draw a column, then you draw a roof, and then you draw a floor. When there is a rod inside a pillar, there is a pillar inside which there is a rod. So rod is a part of the pillar. You know how there is a bone and then there is a body. So there is a rod inside and there is a pillar. Pillar has a rod inside. Then it is covered by a roof and there is a floor below. So if there is a inside, the rod inside a pillar is actually defective and it results into damage to pillar and floor and the roof. Now DE1 will pay nothing because it says everything because of the defect. If there is a defect in the design, then nothing is payable. So forget DE1. DE2 will pay the what is the remotely connected, that is the floor. Will pay only the floor. DE3 will pay you floor plus the roof. And DE4 will pay you including also the column. Then DE5 will pay you including the rod. Only condition is rod should not be a better one, but rod should be the similar one. No betterment is covered. So first one covers what is the remotest, that is the cause is always the rod. Now question is, because of rod, column got damaged. Because the column got damaged, the roof got damaged. Then roof got damaged, so floor got damaged because the roof fell on the floor. So remotest is the floor. So first you say D2. Start with D2. What is remotely covered is the floor. Only floor getting covered for defect in rod is D2. Floor plus roof is D3. Floor plus roof plus column becomes D4. And D5 will cover everything including replacement of the rod also. Only condition is that the rod should not be a better one but the same one. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And that do you want to go through the slide once again? I think.
Yes, ma'am.
I deliberately told you without the slide because now you don't, without the slide, if you just draw on a paper, piece of paper, then you will know something like this. Right?
Understood.
Like
Yeah,
this,
now
I don't know
understood.
whether it can be seen. Yes. It is like you draw a rod and a column then you can know. Basically, that is, though we call it as add-ons, it's more than add-on. We can say it is also specifies what is excluded. So DE1 is no add-on. DE1 says everything because of a defect is not payable under the policy. It's as good as an exclusion.
Okay.
It's not a cover, it's an exclusion. Right?
Yes.
DE1 excludes all damages due to design defect. Outright defect exclusion. DE1 is not an add-on cover. It says outright defect exclusion. So if you put DE1 under the policy, if you incorporate DE1 under the policy, then any defect, and because of that defect, any loss, even remotely connected, will not be payable. So we generally give DE2, 3 up to 4. 5 becomes very, very wide cover because you are covering the defect itself. Right?
Okay, ma'am.
So we don't want to cover the defect. So we give up to D3 or D4 only. D5 is the most widest cover, which covers the defect. The main defected part also we are covering in DE5. So we don't want to cover. So we never give DE5. We cover only up to DE3 or 4. So the part is there, but everything which is covered by that part or which is connected to that part also gets covered. So 2, 3, and 4. You understand, right?
Okay.
Is the rusting covered if losses happen due to peril in CR? No. Only rusting is not going to be covered under the policy. Okay.
And this is covered only in case of flood.
Yes. Cause has to be the peril covered under the
peril covered.
Yes. Only due to atmospheric condition will not be covered. Rod, I think we will get claims on all CR policies because rods are always rusted, and mainly I think these rods getting rusted doesn't actually affect the construction. So they leave these parts, open. Okay. Yes, I think we have covered. You can go through the again, and if there are any, as I've said, there is a group or on the mail ID, you can put it. Actually, these things are the learning for all of us, including me. So if there is something that doubt is there, it can always be discussed. Just put on the group or just put on the mail ID, and we can discuss on that. And it will be a learning for all of us. And wish you all the best.
Ma'am, just a minute. While discussing BPP policy, somebody has asked regarding the access, but in book itself it is written that no access will be applicable in BPP policy.
Yes, that
is
is
it
correct.
right or
Right.
no access will be applicable in
Yes.
BPP, na?
Yes.
Okay,
Access is applicable. Book is old. Ma'am, escalation is applicable in.
Okay. 1 minute. The excess is applicable. Okay. I will tell you.
Ma'am, escalation is applicable in BPP.
As per the 2011
5%
circular.
or 5% or 10,000.
Yes, if you can just go
I have
through
circular, ma'am.
Yes, 2011 circular will give you access for BPP. It was not there before, but now it is there.
Ma'am, there is one doubt, ma'am.
Yes, somebody asking D1, 2, 3, 4 whether there is additional premium. Of course, there is additional premium. For 2, 3, 4, 5, for everything there is excess premium. Without any excess premium, don't incorporate under the policy. There will be a lot of, it has to be. If somebody doubting that there is premium or not for the D1, 2, 3, 4. There is for the D1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, done, peril.
Yes, there is extra premium. If you incorporate DE1, then you are no need to charge premium, right? DE1, if you incorporate, that means you are not paying anything. You don't have to charge. But 2, 3, 4, 5, you are covering something and excluding something, right? So what it is telling you or how much it is covered, but something is covered in 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5 attract premium. So if we can stop share, then I will see if that circular is there. Okay, I'll stop share once.
I mean, last year examination, there was one question.
Yes.
Some SFSP policy, which was in Bhiwandi and later shifted to another location. So whether claim is payable on the new location or not.
There was a
SFSP policy in Bhiwandi location.
Okay.
And location has been shifted to Mankhurd during policy period.
In the policy period shifted to
Another location.
and that's not covered. Any time changing of location is not permitted, no? Whether it is Bhiwandi or not. Now, I think they are trying to confuse you by saying Bhiwandi, because Bhiwandi, we are not covering Bhiwandi, right? We don't cover Bhiwandi as in underwriting guidelines, because Bhiwandi is too crowded, and because of that, it's advisable not to cover Bhiwandi location, right?
But ma'am, it's for New India only, na? Not for all companies.
So it's an underwriting precaution not to cover under Bhiwandi. It's not a provision that we should, tariff provision. So not covering Bhiwandi, they are trying to confuse you by using the word Bhiwandi. Why Bhiwandi? Anytime you cannot change the location. Any location changed in the currency of the policy and you have not changed the policy, then it is not covered under the policy, no? So Bhiwandi, they are trying to confuse you because we don't generally cover Bhiwandi proposals, right? I think that.
But madam, in case of loss, whether it can be shifted to other city also.
No, there is one condition. If you know what is the reinstatement value policy says. What is the reinstatement policy says that at the time of loss, only due to the local authorities, you can change the location. Otherwise, there has to be a reason for changing the location. What is the reason for changing the location?
Local authority clause.
Yes, local authority clause goes with the reinstatement value policy. It says that you can change the location only if there is needed by the local authorities, any requirement that you cannot construct in this place after the loss. But other than that, anytime if the location is changed, then there can be no claim payable, right? So what was the question you are saying? Bhiwandi location? What was the question regarding Bhiwandi location?
No, it's not clear, but they have written that in SFSP Bhiwandi location shifted to other during the policy period. And whether claim on new location is payable or not. That's what.
Not payable. Not payable. They are deliberate. You see, it applies to any location.
If not endorsed in policy.
It is not allowed at all, whether it is Bhiwandi or anything else. They are asking you because you will think, oh, Bhiwandi location is a bad risk. So if it has been shifted, then we will pay because it is a loss minimizing measure taken by the insured. You will think like that. So I think that is what they are trying. Changing of location not allowed, even if it is whether any Bombay or North, South, anything. Where does the question come of changing the location in the currency of the policy? They are putting Bhiwandi to make you confused that because Bhiwandi, okay, shifted to some other location, it's a better risk. You know, it is reducing risk, measure to reduce the risk. Something like that, they are trying to confuse you. No question of changing the location in the currency of the policy. So I was trying to find the excess circular. I cannot find it right now in my laptop. But you go through the
I will share.
you share it with everybody. That gives you all the correct excess of all the policies. There is no revision after that circular, right? So go with that only.
I will share in group.
Madam, transfer of stocks is covered.
Yes.
Transfer of stocks during the period of loss.
What of stock?
Any
Transfer of
stock, cotton or tobacco, anything.
In which policy? Fire policy.
Fire policy.
In fire policy, what you said? What stock is not covered?
Transfer of stocks.
Transfer of stocks.
Transfer of stock from where to where?
Local. One place to one place.
No, we have only one condition for what is that condition? Of stock, temporary removal of stock clause. Okay, that also has an condition for either it has to be for some purpose, right?
Okay.
Or fabrication or some other reason, either the machinery or the temporary removal of stock clause shifted to some other is for a purpose of working on that stock. But other than that, any reason of shifting the stock from one location to another, and if there is a loss at another location, it's not covered under the policy. Like, because there is no, if there are two locations of the insured, then he should go for. In various flood claims have got rejected because they have kept stock in some other location, and if the insured claims that that is also my location, then why did you not insure it? So our fire policy covers loss only at one particular location. Only temporary removal of that 10% of the stock is for a purpose and not for any other reason. Even if you say whether machinery or stock, it cannot get covered under any other location than the insured location.
Okay,
Madam, one question.
Yes. Yes, who somebody was asking? Why is somebody again asking Bhivandi? Okay.
Madam, actually, ये भिवंडी वाला question
No, somebody is asking, you have to be very clear. Anything then we are saying that it is covered or not covered, we are going by the tariff provision. Okay, if you say there is a fall of building, not informed in 7 days, then it is not covered. Or change in trade, it is not covered. Change in risk, not covered. Not covered as per the tariff provision. If you inform the insurance company, somebody is asking, if your question was that he is shifting, and if your question comes as he has shifted from the Bhiwandi location to some other location and informed the insurance company, it will get covered because he is saying inform to the insurance company. Now, whether he has informed the insurance company is also not sufficient. Whether the insurance company has received his letter, accepted the letter, and passed an endorsement on the policy, you cannot change the location and get covered by default, right? Informed the insurance company, okay, and given his change of address that I am shifting from my Bhiwandi to now because there are floods are expected. I am shifting my Bhiwandi location. I am shifting my stock from Bhiwandi location to some other inform. Once it is informed to the insurance company, then it will get covered provided insurance company has accepted. Just informing means sending a mail, and not acceptance by insurance company also is not covered. No, if informed and accepted by the insurance company, because there was a question that the residence used by the insured was asked by some police authorities for some purpose, for some part of time. And when the police occupied, there was a loss. So if this is, if this is an something related to the government regulation, okay, then it is covered. But at the same time, after some time, somebody has taken it on rent and then for used for as an office, and still he has not informed, then it is not covered. The situations are different. If you are not using it as a residence or what it is occupied as, And if something change in the occupation is the most important for fire, because our rating depends on what it is occupied as. If the occupancy changes, the risk changes, informed, insurance company has agreed, then it will get covered. Right? Yes. Circular of excess has been shared. So all go through. This is the correct circular, and all that is given in the circular. Sometimes the insurance books are also old, so something could be there. But go through the circular for all the excess in fire and engineering. Even that 5 times excess, which was changed in between after D-tariff, that has also been given in the circular. But if you see some old books of engineering, then old excess is there, which it changed to 5 times after 2007. That all changes are there in the excess circular. Yes. Anything else?
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All
Thank
this
you.
you have to memorize, ma'am.
If you are reading again and again, why to memorize? You will remember as it is. Right? Not much to memorize, right? It is more to understand. Then you will remember. For understanding, you have to read again and again. Right?
Thank you very much,
solution
ma'am.
is to go through again and again. Yes.
Thank
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
All the
Thank you,
best.
ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. The
Okay,
class
thank
was
you.
wonderful, ma'am.
Yes. And wonderful for me also. There's some learning from you all. Thank you.
Dhanyavad, madam. Dhanyavad.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, ma'am.
madam.
Yes. Thank you all.